What's going on, guys? Scotty Sparks here, coach of your London Luxray, and I am bringing you my post com from the battle. Um, it was kind of a long battle. We ended up doing it like live and then being in a chat on Discord. So there's a chance you didn't watch it because it was probably pretty long and kind of pretty boring. But if you want to watch or listen to two people thinking about what they were planning to do and see like the stress in their face when they couldn't talk through their plays, or even when the plays weren't going the way they wanted to go. You can check that battle out. Should be up before this, but this is for if you didn't watch it or you want my thought process and how the battle went. Is what this is. So going through his team, this is something I did not do before the match. He has Infernape, Gudra, Slowking, Fortress, Comfy, Tangela, Mega Pinsir, Raikou, Crobat, Hariyama, and Golurk. This is a battle I was really stressed about because he's in my division. We played twice, so it was a mix of trying to win. I'd consider Brandon probably my rival, one of my rivals in this league too. We've been playing since season one. Actually, he's probably the guy I've known longest in the league since like JK. And we always have really good matches. So we were able to get the match out early, which is nice. But going through his team, Infernape, very versatile Pokemon, hard hitting, fast Pokemon. It's got priority in Vacuum Wave, Mach Punch, I believe. That's an issue. Firefighting Stab, an issue with U-turn is painful. You think you can switch in, and now your check's kind of in a bad spot. Gudra is a tank. It is a Spadef wall that can hit pretty hard, and it's got really good coverage. So I'm really expecting a set with probably Draco Meteor, maybe Dragon Pulse if he doesn't want to get them -2. I think Sledge Wave is something he brings, and then probably stuff like Ice Beam, Flamethrower, Thunderbolt, something in that area. Slowking is a very bulky Pokemon. I think Slowking's the physical one. Let me check for you. I'm pretty sure because the difference between Slowking and Slowbro is one's defensive and one's Spadef. And I believe this one's Spadef, which makes sense because he has a Tangle on his team. That he'd have a Spadef and a defensive Regen Core. Pain in the ass, like I said. Regenerator is an issue. This thing could wall out my Salamence, my Lucario. There's good stuff that it could wall out. So, and plus Lycanroc is an issue. Or it doesn't deal with this too well. So Slowking is a very good Pokemon. I do expect Slowking and Gudra to come this match. Ironically, those are like two of the six I predicted to come were those two, and it worked out. I mean, it didn't work out because I only predicted two of the six that he brought. But that being said, Slowking, Scald, Regen. He has run AV on it before when he's played me. But probably Psychic coverage, Water coverage. There's not really much Slowking does. Fortress is a very painful Pokemon to prep for. It can be setup fodder, but it's got all three hazards other than Sticky Web, which is the fourth, and Volt Switch and Gyro Ball. So it can put some pressure on, especially on my Slurpuff if I decide to bring that. Other than that, it just gets good hazard coverage. So I need to make sure that he doesn't set that up on me. Comfy, I did expect Comfy to come because it's got priority Fairy, which covers Salamence really well. But I do have a Skarm and Lucario, and I guess a potential Silvally Poison and I guess a Nidoqueen. So I do have a lot of things that it doesn't really check that well, but it is something that can take my Salamence. I did expect it to come. Spoilers, did not come. But that's pretty much it. It's stat-wise, it's going to be, I think, recovery, whether that's Training Kiss or more recovery. Maybe Heal Bell as a cleric, some Calm Minding, stuff like that. I got Tangela there, the second piece to his Regen Core. He actually got sniped from Tangrowth by the guy to his left, Cambridge Crawdons, coached by Steven, which is funny. But I mean, I guess that's a really good fifth tier Pokemon for Regen, and that thing is very bulky. I mean, if he gets knocked off, that's another issue, but his Mega, I do not expect his Mega to come. But I mean, it has usefulness in this match, so it could come. And when I was planning everything out, I'm like, okay, maybe he brings it because it's got priority. It hits hard. I do have a Lycanroc and a Skarm, which means the odds he brings it aren't the best, but it's something I did think. I did think he needed it, and if he brought it, it wouldn't be a setup variant, just because Lycanroc can check it so easily. Um, it'd be like return, quick attack, probably like Earthquake and close combat. Raikou, I it's a Pokemon I expect to come just because I have a Blastoise, and I don't really see any other way of him breaking my Blastoise on this team. Um, it can be Specs, maybe Scarf. It's 115 speed, so Scarf isn't the most common, but Specs and Calm Mind are two very viable sets. Kind of one dimensional in what it does, but it is good at what it does. And it's got the bulk that most fast electrics don't have. Crobat, I did expect Crobat to come over Fortress. I felt like it checked things like Lucario pretty well, but it can be defensive. It can be offensive. He brought Nasty Bat last week, so it's got it's a very viable Pokemon. High speed, which means you don't really have to run max speed on it, which means you can invest a lot into health. With attack and it has a good attack and a decent special attack, so it can kind of go either way. Hariyama, it's a Z alt, and he's been putting it to good use this season for sure. His game one versus Steven, he put in a lot of work. It's got Bullet Punch, which could be useful for him. This is something I think I predicted. I predicted instead of him bringing Infernape, I thought he was going to bring the Hariyama and something else. I can't remember what it was, but it was like instead of the that kind of coverage. I think it was like the Mega Pinsir Hariyama. Yeah, I think that was what I was thinking he'd brought. But yeah, it's just a very bulky Pokemon. It can Belly Drum, it can do some stuff, got some priority. And Golurk is kind of like, it's a very slow Pokemon, and that's kind of like the problem with it, but it's a very solid Pokemon. It's a ground ghost, very good spin blocker. For Pokemon that don't have knockoff, obviously. Like, there's a lot of spinners that are water types or have knockoff, so being a ground type isn't the greatest, but I guess you have to be a ghost to spin block. But yeah, it's a very powerful Pokemon. Don't get me wrong. Season 1, Steven had it, and I faced him in playoffs, and that thing put in a lot of work. So I need to make sure that I'm not weak to Golurk in any way. That being said, let me just jump into the team builder. Just because normally from now on I'm going to cover these 5 here with a sticky note or something. But since the match is already up before this, there's no real need. I'm just going to make sure this is the right team. So actually, Blastoise being in the 6th spot, it was one of my first picks, but I threw it back there because I was just setting on 2 other Pokemon. But Skull, this guy has to come. When you're facing a Mega Pinsir, a Solrock is a must. And then Crunch Zen Headbutt kind of covers the rest. So I threw SD on there just in case I could get a chance to set up. I didn't really want to be locked into Banded when a Solrock Oko is a Pinsir, I think, anyways. So having the SD, plus you'll see with Cotton Kirby, if I can get set up, I won't really have to worry about my speed tier. And the Chople Berry is just for the chance it's Scarf Nape. I can take Mach Punch or Close Combat if I'm at like 70. I think Close Combat will do like 65, 70, but Mach Punch will do less than 30 with the Chople Berry. So if I get set up, this is a way I can win. Assuming he does bring the Pinsir, obviously. Aowen, this is kind of a must bring too when you're facing a Raikou. I was debating Life Orb or Black Sludge, but ultimately I sent this to Sean, and he thought Black Sludge was better. And I mean, if I was debating on the two, and he revised my team, it just kind of it's just like when you think of like various sets and you think one's good. It's just nice when someone else sends you back a team and like they agree with what you originally thought. This coverage, it's decent coverage. It covers a lot of his team. Flamethrower, Ice Beam, Earth Power, Toxic Spikes. If I can get the Toxic Spikes up, I can start wearing down Pokemon like the Slowking, Tangela, and Goodra. 3 big Pokemon that are hard to damage. So getting Toxic Spikes up would be really nice this match. Rest is into speed and health. Enough speed that after webs, I outspeed a Raikou. I'm not gonna be it's not gonna affect the Crobat, so Reiku is the fastest Pokemon that gets affected by webs that matters, and that puts a lot more pressure um, on his team. If I can get those webs and even the spikes up would be nice. My third Pokemon, Cotton Kirby, Citrus Berry. The Citrus Berry is just kind of like there, so I can get the Unburden boost if I need it. But Wish, Sticky Web, Play Rough, Flamethrower. Flamethrower covers the Fortress enough at special attack that after rocks I can OHKO the Fortress. That is without if it doesn't have leftovers. So if I get a bit of chip damage and I break it sturdy, Flamethrower does OHKO just like 92 min. Play Rough hits a lot of his team. It's kind of nice. Unburden would put me faster than Nape, which is nice. This is kind of get walled by a Crobat, but Sticky Web's Wish I thought was the best set. I was debating Toxic on the Cotton Kirby, but because I was able to fit Stealth Rocks, I could put Toxic Spikes on Airwin, and because there was Toxic Spikes on Nidoqueen, I didn't need Toxic on Slurpuff. That's my thought process there. Fourth Pokemon, Q29 Isis, my airplane little guy. Got Moxie. I was debating Intimidate over Moxie just because it allows me to set up easier. But I figured Moxie because if I get a speed boost, like I can just kind of steamroll from there. I was debating on a couple sets, but again I was talking to Sean. It was originally Normalium Z Giga Impact, but because that killed a Comfey, but at this set Flyinium Z into Comfey does kill too. And this covers the Tangela. It can deal well to Slowking. I think I'll need a Dragon Dance up, but or at least one attack boost. But once I get +1, I pretty much OHKO anything with Flyinium Z. Flamethrower covers the Fortress, covers the Tangle if I need it, if I don't want to use Fly. And then Dragon Claw, so I'm not locked into Outrage. Last thing I want to do is be locked into Outrage on the Comfey, and then it kills me with pretty much, it lowers me down to like 20% with a Draining Kiss. I only needed the 120 speed, because at this speed, one Dragon Dance puts me faster than a Crobat, but more importantly, it puts me faster than a Scarf and Fernape under webs, because they'll neutralize out. And I don't want to die to an Ice Punch by a Scarf Mon, and I wouldn't be faster anyways. So I mean, the only point of there wouldn't really be much point of putting more speed, and this power might be important going forward because he has a pretty bulky team, so more power the better. Rest in the health so I can take some hits, get better chance to set up. He does have a pincer, so I felt a defensive check to it was necessary. Horaceer with the Rocky Helmet. I can take some U-turns with Infernape, just so that Infernape doesn't really just set up on me if I can play my cards right. Sturdy is nice. Drill Peck, because I don't want to take recoil damage from Brave Bird. Don't really need to do the Brave Bird damage. Roost is a nice option. And then Stealth Rocks and Spikes if I can set that up. More Spadef because, let me see his team. There was something Spadef that I wanted. I think this is more so I could switch into the Slowking too, because he had some things that, or the Comfey, and Crobat. This walls Crobat pretty well. It walls Golurk pretty well too. I mean, unless he's like Fire Punch or something. So the idea being that this checks a lot of his team. Checks with half. The other half can get coverage for it, but overall it does pretty well. And the sixth Pokemon, this Pokemon's really hard to switch into. Ice Beam, Dark Pulse, Water Pulse pretty much wrecks his team. And the Water Pulse, I wanted the damage. Like there wasn't really anything. If you look at his team, there's not really anything I want to burn. Pinsir is a maybe, but like everything on his team either can't be burned or will die to a Scald anyways. Like the only things I can see, the only thing I'd want to burn is the Crobat. Hariyama has guts potential. Pinsir he might not even bring, which he didn't. And Infernape super effective. I don't think Infernape can get burnt because it's a fire type. So Water Pulse was a better option on my end. Just pretty much enough speed just in case he's speed creeping. Don't have to worry about that. 240 health. And then max special attack. Hopefully this boy puts in some work. Yeah, I guess he doesn't really have many switch-ins, and his switch-ins would probably be like Slowking and Goodra, but at the same time, Dark Pulse Ice Beam does a lot to them anyways. So let me just get to the match, and you can see what my thought process was. Um, so you see the team. Of course, I'm on the opposite side, the far side, and this is Brandon's team. He brings Nape, um, Gudra, Fortress, Reiku, Slowking, Tangela. At team preview, Tangela's Eviolite, max defense, I'm pretty sure. Makes most sense. It takes on Lycanroc pretty well. Um, it can take on Salamence if I don't have like Fly Name Z. It can take on a fair amount of my team. Um, Slowking, I'm not sure what that is. Probably defensive because I have a very offensive team. I feel like the way Brandon's playing, he's going to play more defensive. Gudra looks defensive. I think it was a must bring for him. Fortress is his only hazard setter other than Infernape, and his only hazard removal. So I'm pretty sure he's got Rapid Spin and probably Rocks on there. I'm thinking Infernape Scarf just because his only Scarf. I looked at his team, and this is like the only issue I see with his team is if you look, Infernape can be a Scarfer, um, and Raikou potentially, and Crobat potentially, but Raikou's already 115, Crobat's already 130, so like maybe Raikou, maybe Infernape, but like a lot of his Pokemon aren't really Pokemon you'd expect to be Scarfed. That means he could probably take advantage of that, but I knew looking at his team that I didn't really have to worry about Scarfs like when I was battling him. If he had a Scarfer, it'd be the Infernape or Raikou, like I said. So let's go into it. Looking at his team, I figured Nidoqueen would be my best matchup. I don't have Thunderbolt for the Slowking, which was a bad play on my end, but I cover the Raikou, I cover the Tangela, I cover the Fortress, and the Gudra. So as long as he doesn't, if he leads one of those, I'm good. And he does lead the Fortress. Oh my gosh, pop-ups everywhere. And I'm going to go for the Toxic Spikes because it's pretty free Toxic Spike. He does get Rocks up, which is an issue because looking at his team, Salamence I know is my way to win. If I can set up on the Fortress, then Salamence just has an easy time sweeping. So that's what I'm going to go for. So what's going to happen, I'm going to do the Flamethrower. He has the Aqua Berry, which is pretty nice on his end. Some good tech. Gets rid of my Toxic Spikes, which is really necessary for him. And here's a play I'm going to regret. As the game goes on, I wish I Toxic Spiked here instead of Earth Powering. So I'm going to go for the Toxic Spikes. Oh, no, I'm going to go for the Earth Power. But the good part about this is I see it's an AV Gudra. So now I know what I'm facing. And I'm going to make another misplay knowing that it's an Assault Vest Gudra. Because look at that. That did so little damage. Are you kidding me? I know I'm defensive, but that did nothing. So the Ice Beam's going to hit, do 32. This is kind of my only safe Pokemon to switch in. Because I was fearing he had Thunderbolt or he was going to drop a Draco. And I miscalced. Great. I'm going to check to see if that's working in a bit. But I did miscalc here. I calced a no attack investment Gudra off the Ice Beam, which I thought it was. And my calc said Fire Blasted like 54 max. So I'm like, okay, so I'll live a Fire Blast. He goes for Flamethrower and he kills me, which was a surprise. But that's just my bad calc-wise. Let me just see if it's still working. Oh, it's not working. Are you kidding me? Yeah, it's stuck on this screen. What do I do? Okay. Sweet. We're all good here. Okay, sorry for that cut. But this is my second mistake. I know it's an AV Gudra, and I'm like, okay, Blastoise can do damage to it. I should have went Slurpuff here, just because Slurpuff threatens this, or even Salamence. Like, Salamence would have been a good pick, just because it's a good way to get off. This is like the freest Dragon Claw of my life. Dragon Claw on a max HP Gudra Okos on Adamant. And I went Blastoise, so I'm going to put myself in a really bad situation because I'm not really going to get another chance like that this match. He gets Fortress in, which I'm really happy about because this gets the rocks off my side. And that might have been an issue. I didn't want to get chip damage from the rocks. And he's going to get a free switch into Raikou. Here we were in the call, and this is why I stayed in. Because like by the way Brandon was acting, I knew he was going for the HP Ice. Well, he had actually showed extra sensory, but I was very confident in the HP Ice. So I stay in, and I guess that's bad on my end because extra sensory did a fair amount. Expecting the HP Ice would have done a lot less, but he didn't T-bolt, and that's going to be very important in this match because this brings this down to 54%. And you'll see why 54% is important later. But now I can't risk my Blastoise. I knew he was going for Thunderbolt, but I didn't want to risk the other second HP Ice, and I didn't want to risk the Thunderbolt. So I'm going to switch into Lycanroc because no Pinsir means, yeah, this is a way for me to break Goodra, but at the end of the day, I felt my team was good enough to break Goodra, which might have been a mistake, that I could sack this off, and there wasn't really anything on my team I wanted to sack otherwise. So I'm going to go for that, and I'm going to just see this guy's set. And from what I'm seeing, it's a max defense Tangela. And smart on him, I'm not doing much to him, so he's just going to start spamming Leech Seed in case I switch, because with the Regenerator Core, he's just going to hop up to full. And this is a good chance for me to get my Sticky Webs up. I like not leading with my Sticky Web user, especially against people that are like well versed in the game, like especially with people like Brandon, because they don't think I'm a Sticky Web Pokemon if I'm sitting in the back. So I get my webs up, and he's gonna go for the Leech Seed. Smart on him, but I'm just gonna go for a Wish, just because I can get health back. And it was a good thing we were in the call here, because I didn't realize I broke 50 and had my Citrus Berry, because I was gonna switch out at this point. And then he mentioned the Unburden boost Citrus Berry. I'm like, oh, okay, I must have popped it. That was just bad on my end. I should have saw that. But I'm going to start trying to Flamethrower. And here, I figured he was going to switch out just because he knew it was probably like I could probably just do a lot of damage with Flamethrower. And I still have the Salamence in the back, and I'm pretty sure he wanted that for Salamence. But I also thought Slowking would be a good Salamence switch-in. But he's going to go for this Slowking, and this is a good chance to get the Wish into my Blastoise. Yeah, I'm Toxic, but this gives me a free Dark Pulse, and here is where it all goes wrong. I crit the Fortress. I don't think that mattered, but the fact that Fortress goes down, that was my Salamence setup switch in. So that was how I set up on his team. Now that it died, he gets a free Raikou switch in, and I am pretty much forced to find a way to set up a Salamence that on this team it's not looking likely. Like, it's not looking good at all. Slurpuff, it was my most expendable Mon at the moment. Nidoqueen was necessary for Raikou, and Infernape and Tangela, and Blastoise for Slowking. And I can't lose Blastoise, because if I lose Blastoise at this point, then Slowking just walls my team. I need to be at +1 with Salamence, but if I can't get the +1 before Slowking comes in, like, it's done. And that being said, I need to be at +1 with my Z, because if I use my Z on Tangela, which will kill outright, I won't have a way to break the Slowking at full. So Slurpuff being my most expendable Mon, I go into that, and I'm just going to go for a Play Rough just to gauge damage. I wanted to see what kind of Slowking this was, just for my my Salamence switch, and it's the Rocky Helmet, which is kind of nice, kind of bad, but I'm going to get the Wish Up. He's going to go for Toxic, which is good on his end, but I need Blastoise more, so I'm going to go into Blastoise, and I'll get a free Dark Pulse, and he's outplaying me this entire game, like, props on him. He predicts the Raikou, he goes Raikou on the Blastoise, and I'm into another spot, and this is where it goes from bad to worse. So my thought process going into Nidoqueen here was he had a Goodra that just switched in easily on my Nidoqueen. So there was no reason not to Thunderbolt. I thought Thunderbolting would be a misplay on his end, or not, like going extra sensory would be a misplay on his end, just because he had Goodra, which was a very safe switch in, and it was kind of salty when this happened, because this pretty much was like, this is where I die. Like, this just guaranteed I lost. And he throws out the Shattered Psyche to make it worse, which makes sense now, because the reason he didn't go for the HP Ice originally, I don't get that, just because it hit Salamence, it hit more of my team. It even hit, like, I guess Skarmory was dead at that point, but then he didn't have to reveal that he had the Z Psychic, which I didn't clue in at that time. But since this is a Z-Mon, that means Infernape is looking scarfed at this moment. He hasn't brought it in yet. Actually, if he brought it in, I feel like he would have brought in Scarf Nape more. I'm just gonna make sure that's all good. Oh, it's looking good. Yeah, it's looking good. Just keeps glitching out for some reason. But yeah, like this is not looking good. I just lost my only answer to Reiku. I lost my only answer to Infernape, really. Tangela, like, that's not looking good. Salamence is like my only play here. Like, if I'm gonna win, it's gonna be on the back of Salamence, and I've gotta make my move now. And this is why the percent mattered, and I'm gonna show you. Because I almost clicked Dragon Dance because I knew he had HPIs. I'm pretty sure that was a given. Actually, I'm gonna do Reiku here. Reiku, Calm Mind, 3 attacks, no health investment. Salamence. Dwayne did a min 58. So without that Dragon Pulse or Dark Pulse, without that prediction that he was going to go Thunderbolt, like he wasn't Thunderbolting, this Reiku would not be in range of this Dragon Claw. So I'm going to go for the Dragon Claw, and I'm going to get a Moxie, and it's looking like there's a little hope, and now it's looking like there's a lot of hope. And in any play, if that was Scarf Infernape, there's no way he didn't run Ice Punch. He goes Infernape here, and he just auto wins. Slowking comes in. My Z Fly will break it, and the only way I lose here, in my mind, I think, is if, let's put this as Slowking. I'll go AV, but I'm gonna go as he's defensive. I believe I calced it as defensive, so bold, I think. Yeah, I'll go bold. So fly at +2. Like, none of my attacks kill at +2. So the only way he wins here for sure is he has to sack something right now. And I have to go for the Z Fly. Like, that's his only way to win at this point. Or I miss a fly. But he's going to get with the Sticky Webs. I'm going to hit the Z Fly. He doesn't switch out. And I'm at +2 now. And now it's looking pretty good because that did not look like a Scarf Infernape. And it's still not looking like a Scarf Infernape. And I'm going to go for the Dragon Dance here because I'm going to live in HPIs. And this way I'm not risking... because my Flamethrower is only going to do 50 to 60. There was if I didn't go for the D-Dance here, I would not have been in range to kill the fly. Now anything he switches in will die to fly. If I went for fly here and then tried to Flamethrower the next turn, what would happen was I would, with the Regenerator, I don't think I would have put this in range, and I'd be risking 2 flies. So I'm going to go for the fly here. He's going to go for the Hidden Power. It's going to miss. I'm strong enough to kill. It's going to kill. I'm going to go +4. And at this point, his only hope is like a Mega Crit with a Mach Punch. And he's going to get 17, no crit, but that's banded, which was not Scarf, which is nice for me. And I'm just going to steamroll my way to somehow, like, when I didn't get the Toxic Spikes up, that was bad. When Nidoqueen fell, that was even worse. When I didn't go Salamence originally on the Goodra, I didn't get a chance to deal damage to it. Like, that was my chance to deal some damage. But when I crit the Fortress, that was looking bad. Like, Sean was in the call too, and both of us knew at that point that once Fortress went down, this match was like, I lose this match 9 out of 10 times. And I don't know, I somehow pulled it off. That's probably one of the closest battles I've ever had. So excited to be 3-0. I don't think I will say that this match, my prep did not carry me. Because the last 2 matches I felt like I could fall back on my prep and I'd win. This game though, I couldn't fall back on my prep because Brandon out-prepped me. Slowking, Goodra, Tangela, that just walled my team. Like, I need to figure out a way to break that core because this team did not break it. The only way I broke it was because I found a way. That was it. Let's just see. That's making... Okay, we're all good. Brandon thinks he misplayed, and I don't think he did because let's just go back a couple turns. The Reiku. So in his mind, he thinks this, I think, I thought it was a misplay because I had a Nido Queen, and it turned out to be a misplay for a different reason because it got Salmonson. He thinks he should have switched out here, but I calced it. If you calc this, is that Slow King? Yeah, Slow King. An Adamant, go flying EMZ. 31 to 68. Like, unless I got two really low rolls, he goes Slow King here. I get the kill. I flamethrower the Tangela twice. On the H. So if he goes Slow King here, what happens is I get the Dragon Claw damage, then I get the Flying EMZ. So I'm +1. At +1, I'm pretty sure I kill everything on his team, and I kill an Infernape with Fly. I kill a Guja with Dragon Claw. I kill the Raikou with Dragon Claw. The only thing I don't kill is the Tangela. I live in HP Ice, so I could double Flamethrower, and I'm going to calc the Tangela because it was max defense. Tangela, defensive pivot, max defense, yeah. So Super Sonic Sky Strike, I will get rid of that. Fly is going to do, I'd be +1. So Fly is going to do 65 to 77. Flamethrower is going to do 50 to 60. So I Flamethrower on that play, get the chip, and I just keep Flamethrowering, because once I kill that, I'll be at like I'm at +1 because the Slow King. I'd be at +2, like that Tangela would not be able to kill me. And even if it switches out, I'd be able to Dragon Claw the next Pokemon coming in and get to +2 anyways. And at +2, I'd be able to do +2 the 86 to 102, and that 86 plus 50 is not enough after Regenerator to live my next Fly. I guess it would have put him at more of a chance to win because I'd have to hit a lot more flies. I'd only have to hit one fly, one or two, which is what I hit here. So either way, I think once Salamence came in here, my misplay would have been D-Dancing, which I almost did, but because it was in range, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to click Dragon Claw. If that Raikou wasn't in range, then from the Blastoise, then I would have lost this game. But yeah, that's just my take on the ending. I think it was a really well played game by both sides. On my end, I was in a corner the whole game, which is something I that's not something I want to do. So I do have a game week 4 against Squazin's Gym. I'm gonna prep super hard for that because I don't want this happening again. And I will see you next week with a normal team builder and a match.